What is up, guys? Welcome back to the first video of 2022. I've been a little bit absent, but we are back and I am super pumped for a massive year on the channel. I hope you guys had a fantastic break. I definitely did. Spent the time camping, drinking, boating and enjoying good friends' company. But we're back and we're ready to get into it. Currently we're heading to the factory for the first time this year in the Fevo. Gosh, I forgot how fun this thing is. So Tara's mum, who is like in her 60s, awesome lady, come down from Queensland, stayed with us for the break, and she actually drove the Fevo around while she was here, and she loved it. Fevo's not just for the youngins, you know what I mean? Nah, she had a good time in it, and now I'm taking it back to the factory. Very happy to have it back. I really feel like I've got my mojo back for filming and editing videos now, so I'm just really pumped to get back into the swing of things. And we have so much going on, so many projects, so many things to get finished. So right now we're headed to the factory and we're just going to look over everything and walk through where the cars are at and where they need to be, and what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. I should be able to bang out a bunch of videos for at least the next couple of weeks, hopefully bi-daily maybe, if I can, if time permits. So yeah, there's plenty going on, but right now let's drive the Fevo, head to the factory and check everything out. You. This thing sounds so good. So hard to drive and film with one hand, especially in a front wheel drive car. This thing sounds so good with the new turbo. Damn. How's the dose though? That slipping clutch though. That car is so freaking enjoyable to drive. A couple of small tweaks, including a fresh new clutch and pressure plate, and this thing is going to be an absolute weapon. I also need to do a full wet sand and polish and paint correction on the thing, and just a couple of other little things that I want to do as well, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. So we are back at the shop for another massive year, and just a year ago we actually acquired this shop, and it's come such a long way in the last year, and we've done many awesome things in the shop. Before we get too carried away with anything, let's run through where all of the cars are currently at. Starting with the pink rotary car. So this thing, the last time we had it out, Marcus drifted it. This thing absolutely shredded the whole time. So stoked with this car. Went really well. Obviously it took a couple of hits throughout the couple of days of drifting. These things happen. Marcus hit the wall plenty of times with the rear end. I ran the rear end over when it come off. So this car definitely needs some love, but the best thing about this car is we know it works and we know it makes power and we know it drifts super well, which is awesome. So now it's just about cleaning the car up and getting it up to a standard that I'm happy with before we go drifting in it again. As you can see, I've started to remove the Digi Camo livery, and we're going to remove all of the rest of it. I want the car super clean. We're going to just keep it pink, I think. So we're going to head to the wreckers at some point in the next couple of days. We're going to cut the back off another E36 coupe. There's one just around the corner. We're going to weld it back onto the back of this car, paint it pink, and have this car looking all nice and fresh again. We'll push the dents out, fix it all up, and just have it looking super clean. We need to put another camber arm in the rear end because that snapped on the last lap that Marcus was out, and just overall make this thing mint to go drifting in again. This thing was always meant to be a party car, so this year I'm intending to use it for all the Matsuri's, the practice days, and just the random fun events that we have on. And it's definitely at a stage now where we can literally just take it out and do that, which is sick. It's NA, it's going to stay NA because we know it shreds, and there's no point adding any further complications into the mix by putting a turbo onto the side of it, as much as you guys want to see that, I'm sure. So the white M52, as you can see sitting here, looks amazing on stock wheels again because this thing is being sold. I've already filmed a video on this where we completed this car. That video will be out in the next couple of days. I know you guys have wanted to see it. We did have the nice big boy wheels on it, but the person that's buying it just wants it in stock form, so here it is. This thing is so cool, considering where it come from. It was under a tree, sat there neglected for a long time, had a lot of leaves and water and stuff in it, but we took it and brought it back to life. And honestly, it's a super nice car, ready for someone to go away and enjoy. And that is pretty much the end of the M52 on this channel, but we probably will build another E36 sometime in the future, I'm sure, depending on how much you guys want to see that. Next up, we have the purple competition car. Again, this is another car that took a massive beating at Drift X. And then I called it a year. I said I wasn't going to drift anymore, and then another drift event popped up, the Keep It Reap Friday Night Drifts. I didn't film it, but it was a fantastic event. I pushed all the dents out in the car, put flares back onto the rear, painted them purple, just tried to get the car back into one piece as much as possible, took it out, and the car absolutely shredded at that event. This car is running so freaking well, but I do have a problem with braking axles in the rear end. But I've already filmed a full video on basically raising the rear end. As you can see, it's a bit higher, so that video will be out in the next couple of days as well. But as you can see, we've got a whole other E36 on the hoist above it. So basically what we're going to do in today's video, I'm going to start tearing this whole car down. All the doors are coming off, front panels are coming off. Rear end, we're going to cut the whole rear end off. Might not get that done today. And every panel from this car is going onto this car. We're going to make it perfectly straight again, rewrap it, put the livery back onto it because we've only had the livery for a couple of events, but I'm actually getting it blown up a little bit so it'll be a bit bigger and more prominent on the car, and basically just making the car absolutely mint again. I need to drop the sump because it's got a wee oil leak, so I need to fix that. I want to paint the valve cover, pull everything out of the interior and just tidy a couple of things up. But other than that, this car is going so well that I don't want to change too many things because there's no point fixing something that ain't broken, if you know what I mean. So super excited for the 2022 refresh on this thing, having it looking absolutely beautiful once again. Then we have the Datsun. This thing I'm probably the most excited about. Finally, we're going to finish the Datsun 280ZX. This thing has been sat here for a little while at this stage with the turbo on the motor, custom plenum that we did. Basically it was waiting on getting this piece here installed. Finally I found some time to put it in. It's not fully completely in at the moment, a couple more things to be done, finish off some welds, seam sealer, but that was basically the biggest problem on the car. Now the car is completely all 100% metal, no rust, no bog, which is absolutely amazing. So we're going to go ahead, we need to wire in the ECU, finish the engine bay, start the car for the first time, take it to the dyno, get it tuned, finish the bodywork, paint the car. So that is all going to be done within the next couple of months, and obviously we'll film it and put it all on the channel. And then, like I said, with the Fivo, new clutch, new gearbox, tidy a couple of loose ends up, and we're going to take that thing to the track. So that is pretty much an update. Man, there was so much talking. Sorry if that was too much talking for you guys, but it's important that everyone's up to speed on the channel with where we're at with all the cars. By the way, the channel's been growing awesomely, even though I haven't been uploading videos, so I really appreciate all the new subscribers. Shout out to you guys. If there's a certain car that you want to see more of, let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to go above and beyond and kind of do more of what you guys want, so feel free to hit me up. But now, we'll get these cars out the way. We're going to pull the E36 out, and I'm going to start tearing this thing down panel by panel, and hopefully by the end of today we have kind of a bare car that we can start looking at putting all of the parts onto, which is cool. So today will probably be part one of the 2022 refresh of the E36. Let's get it done. Alright, so the teardown has begun. This thing looks so Mad Max style when you've got everything off the rear, but as you can see, this thing has had a hard life. I'm sure there's a bunch of you guys watching thinking, why don't you just reshell from this shell into that shell, and then you have everything perfect again. But that is actually a lot bigger of a job than you would first think. And then also when you reshell, basically you head to the track expecting a couple of teething issues because you've pretty much built a new car, even though it's just shifting stuff from one car to another, because you know you use different wiring or this and that, or you know there's always little things that could potentially go wrong. Whereas the car that we currently have at the moment is the best version of this car that we've ever had, so I don't want to risk maybe going backwards and taking a couple of rounds next season to get the car good again when we reshell. So we're going to keep the shell as it is, everything's staying the same, motor's staying the same. We've still got our built motor being built at EBM. That's going to take a little while longer, which I'm fine with because our current engine is just a frickin' ripper. So we're staying with the current setup. So the bare bones of the car will stay, engine, wiring, everything like that, all staying in the car. We're just going to fix a couple of things up, like this oil leak, as you can see, this puddle on the ground. But for the most part, yeah, same car. We're going to wind up the boost a little bit, take it back to Dr. Drift, get it tuned, and just make sure that it's all good. Make a little bit more power. Currently it's making 240 kilowatts. We're going to wind it up to about 270, I think. But that's why I'm not reshelling anyway, in a nutshell. So next up, we're going to whip the doors and the front guards off. This process is actually pretty easy, and then we're going to figure out exactly what we're going to do with the rear end, because this thing is just absolutely munched everywhere you look. But luckily these cars, like from the rear back, it doesn't really, it's kind of just there for looks. So we're probably going to cut the rear off and figure out how we're going to bolt this new rear on. Ew! So good. Can't wait for this thing to be brand new again. Alright, the car is literally bare bones, and oh, you're creeping around. Hey Tara. Try not to make noise in the video. This might be like the favorite look, my favorite look for this car ever. I've never seen it as bare as this, and it looks kind of freaking awesome. I like it. What do you think, Tara?
I love it. I reckon you should leave the doors off.
Well, yeah, but they don't like that at the track. Apparently you need doors. So that is the car stripped down and ready to be made over. Pretty much all the broken parts are here on the floor, and there's actually a lot of opportunity here for improvement in terms of weight. So I pulled the rear doors off, and these things weigh so much. I actually forgot how much they weigh, and there's a lot of opportunity here to take some weight out of them, because I don't use the rear doors at all. They're shut, and then I bolt flares over them, as you can see right here. So I think I'm pretty much going to cut every single thing out of the new doors, and then I'll probably put acrylic windows in the window slots as well instead of the glass, and that should take a massive amount of weight. So I'm literally just going to have this outer skin here, and then I'm going to weld them shut to the car, like tack weld them, and then that'll be the doors literally taken care of. And we should shed, I reckon, like probably 60 to 80 kg from the doors, just the two rear doors. That's a lot of weight. That's a whole me.
That's a whole me.
That's crazy. You're not 80 kgs, you're ridiculous. And then we'll see what, I'll ask Woz and see what we can do about removing some of the weight from the front doors as well. Our Mazda 3 side skirts have held up pretty well, so we'll reuse those and wrap them, but for the most part, the teardown of the car is done. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we're going to leave part one of the 2022 rebuild. We're going to come back tomorrow, and we're going to tear down the red car and figure out how we're going to chop the bum off the car and make it work with this car. I removed the skins off the rear, as you can see. This car is beat up to hell underneath. This is actually a rear quarter that I cut off another car and welded, or kind of welded onto this car. So the skins actually worked really well. So that's the skin off another car that we bolted onto the side of this, made it look nice and clean again. So we're going to kind of do that with the new rear end, but instead we're going to do the whole rear. because companies in America sell the rear end clips that you can buy, but no one does it here in Australia. So maybe that's a business opportunity for someone out there. Maybe you could do that. But anyway, that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It feels good to be back. I got my mojo back. Tara's happy that I'm filming again because it means she gets me out of the house, which is always handy. But I'll see you guys in the next video where we do part 2 of the E36 2022 rebuild. You!
You!
Peace!
Peace!